Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, it is currently October 17th and we are still once again without a House Speaker. It's been this way for about a week or so. And we're currently in the process of replacing Kevin McCarthy. He broke the demands of the Freedom Caucus and the rules package he agreed to back in January, which allowed him to become Speaker, and then Matt Gaetz, who was one of the early opponents to Kevin McCarthy, decided to raise the motion to vacate the chair. Eventually, it passed. They got rid of him. They had enough Republicans to remove him. It only took 8, and it seemed like a lot of people at the time either said this is a gamble or this is a good thing, and then you had some very loud people in the establishment who were in the super minority opinion that said this is a terrible thing. You know, these people are they're hurting the way that we're supposed to run the House. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the point because you're not running the House the right way. And there's so many of these weak establishment Republicans that cave in to the demands of the opposition. And we need a Republican Party that puts the interests of the American people first. An America First Republican Party, hence the term. And that's the way it is. So there was a vote to, eventually institute a new speaker. And Jim Jordan kind of was leading the charge from the more anti-establishment, more Trump-friendly wing of the Republican Party. And he was going up against McCarthy's potential replacement, Steve Scalise, who's kind of like McCarthy light. He's kind of like a lateral move. Not a lot would really be gained by having Steve Scalise in there as Speaker. And Scalise got a plurality of the first ballot, but he did not get a majority. And then he decided to just bow out. He bowed out, and Jordan stayed in the race, and they put it up to a vote again this morning. And Jordan, he almost got there, but he didn't quite get there. He could have gotten there. He got 200 votes. The entire, caucus, the leverage was behind Jordan. He expanded his total by over double what it was the first vote. Scalise dropped out. He ended up with 7. You have 6 people that stood with McCarthy for some reason, even though McCarthy even had the common sense and decency to back Jordan. And then Zeldin also backed Jordan, but Zeldin, who's not even in the House anymore, he got 3 votes from New York. And then you have Tom Emmer, Mike Garcia got a vote. Some of these other people got votes. And it's just like, why? It's ridiculous. There's no point for this. There's no reason for anybody to vote against Jim Jordan. You could say, well, certain districts actually are more moderate, or they elect Biden at the presidential level and a Republican down ballot. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't stop Democrats in Trump-heavy districts for electing somebody like Pelosi to be Speaker, which they have done back in the day when Democrats took control of the House in 2018 and 2020, or in 2022, they elected Jeffries as their leader, Hakeem Jeffries. Even in these moderate districts, these fake moderates on the left have no problem voting for Hakeem Jeffries to lead their party, who is further left than Jordan really is to the right. But Republicans, they can't stomach Jordan for whatever reason because they serve the same uniparty, McCarthy and Jeffries. You talk about the establishment at large. You have so many people who are just holding out because they're salty. They're salty that they didn't get their way. They're salty that the rules package had to exist in the first place that enabled McCarthy to be able to be removed as Speaker. And that's the problem, because so many people in the voter base are not voting Republican for business as usual, politics, bipartisanship in the name of the stupid party, the Republican Party, and the evil party, the Democrat Party, coming together to do something stupid and evil. That's not what this voter base wants, and that's not why this voter base elected Republicans in enough districts to give them the House in 2022. And that's what it comes down to. There's absolutely zero reason for this. We could look at the defectors. You see Don Bacon, Ken Buck, Lori Chavez DeRemer, Anthony D'Esposito, Mario Diaz-Balart, Jake Elzy, Andrew Garbarino, Carlos Jimenez, who voted for Hillary Clinton, by the way. We really shouldn't exactly take whoever he votes into consideration. Tony Gonzalez, Kay Granger, John James, that was a shocker, even though James did say he would end up voting for Jordan on the second ballot. It was still kind of a low blow, especially because he wouldn't really have to worry about that in his district anyways, given the fact that it's a presidential year coming up. You have Mike Kelly out of Pennsylvania, Jen Kiggins, Nick LaLotta, another vote for Zeldin, Doug LaMalfa, Mike Lawler, John Rutherford, Mike Simpson, and Victoria Spartz, who said she would vote for Jordan only if he had the votes, which is one of the weirdest rationales you could come up with. And then Steve Womack out of Arkansas's 3rd congressional district. So you're looking at this, and it's like a lot of these people are either in, swing districts where this probably would not impact their election bid whatsoever, or they also happen to be in solidly Republican districts. Kay Granger is probably more at risk of losing a primary than a general election, obviously, and now she's potentially going to be putting herself at risk for that. Same thing with Tony Gonzalez and a lot of these other people that are listed on this list right here. And you're looking at it, there's no excuse for it. There's really no excuse for people to not be backing Jordan, especially when a lot of swing district and blue district Republicans are backing Jordan. People you would not expect. Obviously, Mike Garcia is very, very solid for a district that voted for Biden by like 10 plus points, and he's possibly even going to win re-election again in 2024. But you also have people like Young Kim, Brian Fitzpatrick. I mean, these people tend to be more like RINO-ish on a lot of issues, but still, even then, they're backing Jordan. So there's no reason for people like Don Bacon and Anthony D'Esposito to be these idiots. And that's the same guy, by the way, D'Esposito, who tries to, instead of actually do something productive, remove one of the members of his own caucus, who is probably one of the most solid voting records this Congress in George Santos, trying to virtue signal to the left to remove him from office. And in a presidential year, it's likely not going to save him. Don Bacon and D'Esposito are probably going to lose re-election. And honestly, depending on the outcome of the House, I may laugh if they do. When it comes down to these other blue district Republicans like Garcia and Kim and Fitzpatrick and Keene, like, these are people from swing districts who are probably going to win compared to the people from the swing districts that are probably going to lose, who are going out there and trying to do this performative opposition to Jim Jordan, which is just sad to see. And on top of it, it kind of proves that if those people are going out there, people who are either in swing districts or threw a temper tantrum about the initial Gates thing like Derek Van Orden, or people that have these RINO tendencies, especially people like Maria Salazar, people like Young Kim, Brian Fitzpatrick, these are people who you would not really expect to be those types to be team players, but still you have a select few who are not being team players. They're not doing the right thing. They're not putting Jordan in there. So could Jordan eventually get the speakership? It's possible. I guarantee you about half of these people could end up easily caving into the Jim Jordan crowd. You probably could see somebody like Jake Elzy, Kay Granger. I believe John James has already done so. Doug LaMalfa has already done so. And then maybe you get enough people to say you have 215, you get that sizable majority, and then in there you could, I guess, have certain people like Don Bacon voting present, and you could kind of expand that margin for error to the point where you could be able to get Jordan in there at 213 votes, because keep in mind, it does not count present votes, but you need to win a majority of the votes that have been casted for a person, not a plurality, because Jeffries has the plurality, and they got to be careful about that. But if they are able to make a deal where you get more people for Jordan, you get like 215, 216, and then the people that are just absolutely anti-Jordan or pro-McCarthy because they have some weird derangement syndrome type of ordeal going on in their brain, because we know it's not about electoral politics whatsoever for these people, and even if it is, it's just because they're dumb and they're not really analyzing the situation properly. Well, then at that point, those people can vote present and Jordan can become Speaker of the House. But it's just ridiculous when you look at the big picture. You see McCarthy endorsing Jordan. Scalise is voting for Jordan. Zeldin has endorsed Jordan. Emmer, I believe, has as well. And you still have people, I believe every single person who has received votes for Speaker that is not named Jim Jordan has endorsed Jordan, which is hilarious. It's absolutely ridiculous to see happen in real time, but nonetheless it has. And this is a major problem for Republicans. There's not going to be any new votes today. They are going to be voting again tomorrow after 11 Eastern. And there are two ways where this could go. A, Jordan gains votes, and he gains leverage in doing so when they inch closer and closer and closer to getting some sort of deal done here to make Jordan Speaker. Or B, he ends up losing net votes, which would not be a good thing for him because then it would throw everything into chaos, and then the Jordan wing would eventually, after a few more votes and potentially further losses, would have to decide on another compromise candidate, and that could end up having some negative implications in terms of who becomes Speaker of the House and who gets to serve as Speaker for the end of the Congress. So we'll have to see what happens. I think it's a good thing that Jordan has gained a lot of votes, but still you have people holding out for the dumbest reasons that are all incoherent. They don't make sense. It's clearly not about electoral politics because you have many RINOs in these, blue-leaning districts who even they're willing to say, hey, fine, let's just get things done. Let's just make Jordan Speaker, whatever, we'll go on with it. So either way, something's got to happen. They got to make Jordan Speaker. It would be great to have a Speaker that actually represents the interests of the Republican base for the first time in recent history. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.